Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm very excited to have you here with me today. For today's makeup transformation, I went for a very Versace runway inspired look. I am obsessed with Versace fashion and the house of Versace. I think their style, it's very defined and also very unique as well. And I also want to try this shadow from MAC. It's called Swing on a Star. I bought it on Macy's years ago and I've never used it like on actual eye look. I've tried it on the back of my hand and like swatched it, but I never used it or like incorporated it in like an actual makeup look. It's like this gorgeous brown with blue, green, pink, and I don't know, it just has a lot of colors. It's absolutely gorgeous, as you guys can see here in the cap. And this is part of their Spellbinder shadows. These are like magnetics. So yeah, I really want to play with this one today for sure. So I'm actually going to start with my skin. I am going to exfoliate using the glycolic acid 7% by The Ordinary. This is a really good way to start your skin in like a very even skin tone. And it also gets rid of like any dead skin around my nose, which happens a lot. And it also helps me kind of get rid of the redness on my beard area. So let me go ahead and start doing this one first. And I like to apply this kind of like downward motions and then back, just making sure I get all the crevices of the nose, because I always have issues with my foundation separating in the nose area. And I found that doing this before any makeup application, it actually helps me a lot. Like it has helped me a lot. All right, now I want to let my skin kind of soak up like moisture while I do my eyes. So for that, I'm gonna use a hyaluronic acid, also by The Ordinary. This, I swear by this product a lot. This kind of gives my skin like this beautiful like glass wet skin look, even before like any foundation product or anything. So what I like to do is I like to put a full pump in my hands and kind of like swirl it around and then just press it in. And this I just apply all over my face, including my eye area as well. And never forget your neck. I swear, the neck is just as important as your face, trust me. And then I take the Kiehl's Creamy Eye Treatment with avocado. The way that I like to apply my eye cream is with my ring finger and just kind of press going backwards. This helps a lot to depuff the under eye area, but also to prevent any wrinkles from like doing like all that. And last but not least, for my skin, I am going to use the Clinique Dramatically Different Gel. This gives a really good grip to my foundation without being too greasy or too thick. So I'm just gonna do 2 pumps. Actually, let's do 3. And I'm just using pressing motions, you guys. All right, and now that we are all prepped and set, let's go ahead and zoom you guys in so we can start on the eyeshadow. All right, so to start this eyeshadow look, I am going to prime my eyes with a clear eye primer. This is the MAC 24-hour extended base. I'm just gonna run this all over my eyelid. So now I'm going to even out my skin tone just a little bit on top of my eyes. So for that, I'm using the Juvia's Place concealer in number 18. And I'm only gonna do a very small amount of this. For the liner, I am going to use the Black Mirror Prolonged Paint Pot by MAC. This is a primer base for your shadow, but it comes in black. So for me, it's like absolutely perfect because it doesn't move, it doesn't like smudge. I'm gonna take this in a MAC 263 brush, which is a very small angle brush. So I really want this to be very curved in the inner corner and then kind of shooting straight out when I look forward and to the side. That way it is a wing, but it's mostly like pulled back, not really up. So right now I'm just imagining a line going from here all the way up. So if I were to put my brush towards my bottom lash line, I just want to stop it right there. Now for the inner corners, I'm going to switch to the painted.co brush. This is in number J6. It's a super tiny detail liner brush. So I always like to start right at my natural tear duct and kind of bring it forward and then connect it to the line on the top. And once I have that, I just connect it to the line that we just created previously. All right, with the same product, I am going to use the Morphe M421 and just fill all of this liner in. I'm also kind of using this brush to like fix anything that I might see in the liner as well. So once we have it filled in and we are happy with the shape that we have, I am going to take the painted.co J1 brush. This is more of a flat top synthetic brush. And I am going to take my Mix and Medium by MAC. This is more of a glitter adhesive, or like any pigment adhesive that you want to apply on your eye. And I'm just going to run this all over the black, so whenever I put that pigment, it really holds up really well. And now taking the pigment, and I'm going to take this in one side of a M421 brush, and I'm lightly going to press it. Don't grab too much, because otherwise you're gonna end up with this all over your face. I'm kind of debating if I want to put it all over or if I just do the inner portion. It's because it's so pretty like this. Like, kind of makes it more glam. Should I leave it like this? It looks better like that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna leave it like this. I really like how it looks. And since I lit this on the matte black area, I'm actually going to set it with a black shadow just to make it even darker. And for that, I'm gonna take the Shawata Bum de Failure 2 by Juvia's Place and a flat top brush like this one. And just basically running this on top of everywhere that I let it matte. Okay, so this is pretty much it when it comes to the eyeshadow. I really want to focus on just the graphic thick liner with the shimmer. I don't want to do anything on my brow bone. I don't want to do anything to the bottom lash line. I just want to focus on the liner. So let me go ahead and repeat the same steps on this one so we can actually start with the skin. So to emphasize the glow, I'm going to take Strobe Cream by MAC. I'm only going to be applying this in the outer rim of my skin just to give it like a very glass look, but mostly to the outer skirt of the face. And this is in the shade Gold Light. This is more of a yellow tone, so it's really gonna complement my skin really well. So starting off with foundation, I'm going to use the Studio Radiance Face and Body by MAC in the shade C2. This for sure is going to be the perfect option for a Runway supermodel skin. This just gives the most natural, luminous skin that you can ever imagine. And I don't know, I just really love this foundation, and I feel like it's very suitable for a breathable glass skin. So I'm just gonna start with a little bit with the painted.co's beauty sponge just to like even out everything first, and then we can add a little bit more wherever we need to. So that is layer number one. I am now going to build up a little bit, but just on my beard area and a little bit more on the forehead just to take off that line a little bit more. So I'm going ahead and take the Juvia's Place concealer in number 12, And for this, I'm going to start contouring my skin ever so slightly. And I'm really going to aim on pulling this up and out. I do not want this to be low at all. Okay, now with the same sponge that I use for my foundation, I'm just going to really blend all of this in. That way it looks super natural. As you guys can see now, this is like super blended to the point where you can still see the structure, but it's like super natural and diffuse, and that's exactly what we wanted. Now, taking the same concealer that I use for my eyes, I'm going to start covering all this area, but in a very small amount. Nothing that is going to be too heavy or too full coverage. This is a full coverage concealer, but I'm gonna use it so lightweight that it's not gonna look like a full coverage concealer. So starting under my eyes first, that is way too much. So this is mostly the amount that I'm going to start with, and probably end with as well. So starting off with the flat top brush, I'm going to pat this in all the areas that I need to cover. I'm cleaning this area right here and covering the redness that I have in my eyes. So now that we apply all those products, I'm going to one last time take the same beauty blender that I use for my foundation and just buff everything out, really marrying the under eye to the rest of the skin. Just kind of tap everything out and make sure it's super diffuse and blended. What you want to do now, you want to take a translucent powder. This is the MAC Prep and Prime loose transparent finishing powder. I'm going to apply this on a Makeup by Ariel and Morphe brush in number A14. So starting off in my forehead, very small amount, just to set and blur the T-zone. Now around my nose, which is one of my most problem areas, and very lightly start working the under eye. I'm just ever so slightly grabbing more and more, not digging the brush like that. I'm also taking away the excess, so it's not too much. So if I were to get closer, you guys will be able to see, obviously I'm wearing makeup, but it is so blended and so diffuse that it doesn't really look like I'm wearing much at all. Which I'm not, but it just looks very skin-like, like it looks very HD. And that's what I wanted. So for blush, I don't think Versace is known for having like very colorful cheeks at all. I think they always go for like a very bronzy but super natural skin. So this is mostly like the most I will see when it comes to skin color. But I'm just gonna put a little bit of this one. It's called Ander by Luis Torres and Beauty Creation. I just really want to give a little bit of color, but not to the point where it looks like I'm wearing blush. So I'm literally just gonna grab a very small amount, tap away the excess, and I'm mainly gonna do this right here. So just enough to like give a little bit of color. See, just a little bit of rosiness right here. So now I'm going to contour my nose. I'm going to take the MAC 275S brush. This is a beautiful angle brush. It's like fluffy but angled, so for nose contouring, it's like absolutely perfect. Going back with the Luis Torres quad that I used previously and taking the shade EM, this is a really cool tone bronzer. And as contour, it just works really well. I'm gonna take a little bit, take away the excess. I'm going to do the most natural contour ever, just to give dimension back to my nose, but not really to like snatch it or do nothing crazy. So one of my favorite tricks for making the skin look very glowy but also a controlled type of glow is to use a matte setting spray in the center and then a glowy one in the sides. These are both by MAC. This is the Fix Plus Magic Radiance and this is the Fix Plus Matte. So I'm going to start with the matte one in the center first. Make sure you shake it really well. I'm just gonna set the middle of my face first. And immediately after I apply it, I like to fan it in just so it doesn't disrupt any of my foundation or powders. That was a lot. Now taking the Magic Radiant ones, I'm going to apply this in the outer portions of my face, so mostly like from the sides. And then once again, immediately after, just fan it out. And yes, I'm using my lash case for this one, of course. Now for highlighter, I'm actually going to use the Super Shock Chic Pearlized ColourPop highlighter in the shade Flexitarian. And I'm going to be applying this with the same sponge that I use on my foundation, but I'm using the bottom part of it. That way it distributes the color really far and really blended. So for brows, I really want to keep a super natural approach. So I'm just taking the Milani Clear Brow Gel and then just kind of brushing them up and back. Now that I have my skin in place, I want to go ahead and do a little dot right here in the center of my eye. That's something that I've seen Versace done like once or twice. It's just like a little dot right in the middle of the pupil. I feel like it just gives like an extra little detail without it being too much. So I'm taking the Painted.co J5 brush. It's a little bit of a longer liner brush, and taking the same black that I've been using through the entire video, which is the Black Mirror Prolonged Wear Paint Pot by MAC. There's a little detail just to kind of make it a little bit more high fashion, I guess. I don't know, I just love it. Now for lashes, I feel like Versace is not known for putting like big fluffy lashes at all. It's gonna do the most natural wispy lash. This is by Ardell. I think they're called Wispy. And to apply them, I'm using the Duo Black Strip-On Lash Glue. So let me go ahead and apply this off camera so we can work on our lips. I did also went ahead and put mascara. I used it in Extreme Dimension mascara, only on the top part, leaving the bottom as clean as possible. So now last but not least is going to be lips. I am going to be using the Strip Down Lip Pencil by MAC, and I'm just gonna follow my natural lip structure. I'm not doing anything crazy. And now to add a little bit of gloss, I'm going to use the Dazzle Light in Go for Gold. Alright guys, and that concludes this makeup look. I hope that you guys really enjoy it just as much as I do. I am loving every little bit about it. I feel like my skin looks really clean and like fresh. It still looks like skin though, like it doesn't look heavy at all. My eyeshadow, it's better than yours. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is at PopRock Makeup. I'm gonna put it right here on the screen. And if you guys like it just as much as I do, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.